And we're back with you on the web, the fourth web-only segment of the season. Jeff and Jesse breaking down some of the matchups in the week that don't have quite as much luster, but still matter to the fantasy junkies out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're trying to decide who to play this week, so you need to know what's going on in each and every matchup. In order to fit in everything that we want to do on the regular show, we put this online, so you can come on here, check it out. We really appreciate you are stopping by. Make sure to click on the fat chat if you see the icon above myself or Jesse's face on the front of the picture. It says we're on the chat. Come say hello. Also, try the Pick'em Challenge. What else do we got? There's articles out there that you can take a look at. Of course, there's updated news. There will be a poll for you to vote on. So we really want this site to be as all-inclusive and interactive as humanly possible. So we want you guys to stick around. And if you got some personal question, I don't mean personal question, I mean like a fantasy-related question that you'd like us to answer personally, click the feedback icon. We will get back to you. You can throw in a personal question there or not, but there's less of a chance that we may or may not answer that one.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of depends on the nature. If you're asking about any, I won't get into it. So, but what we will get into here is the first matchup of the web-only segment, Atlanta traveling to Carolina. Now, Jeff, as we started to look at this Atlanta team in the preseason, they brought in Michael Turner. They drafted an impressive rookie quarterback in Matt Ryan. It's already paying off. The squad is 2-1 right now, and this game here is for first place in the division. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, who'd have thunk it? You know, with all the injuries that the Saints have been sustaining, they've kind of taken a little bit of a step back. Carolina started out hot. Of course, we got the better of them last week up here in the north. Now they go and face against the Atlanta Falcons, who are a little bit of an upstart team.
Right.
They're doing it on the ground and playing quality defense. The passing game is starting to come around. Matt Ryan looking great for a rookie, and he's got a nice connection with Roddy White as well. So I think that now that the byes are here, we'd like to dub this the bye-pocalypse, especially here in Week 4. There's 6 teams on bye.
Absolutely.
So the lineups are going to be a lot thinner than throughout the course of the regular bye weeks. So Roddy White's actually a guy that you can start here. Chris Gamble, he'll be matched up against throughout the course of this game. Doesn't have the height to match against Roddy White or the athleticism, and I think Roddy White could be good for about 100 yards. Maybe he'll get in the end zone. We'll take a look to see, but he's a good bye week fill-in.
Yeah, absolutely. A good bye week fill-in. Now, this game, I think you're going to see Steve Smith absolutely feast on the flesh of the Falcons, because last week Steve Smith got back onto the field, got some of those proverbial juices flowing, only notched 70 yards for fantasy owners, but at home, in front of his home fans, against the Atlanta secondary that can be exposed, I expect a huge game here from Steve Smith. And the other must-play of the week here, in my opinion, is going to be the rookie, Jonathan Stewart. He scored a touchdown against a really tough team in Minnesota last week. So I like Stewart to score 1 here, possibly even 2. Let's not forget, Stewart scored twice against the Bears, so he's a great play against Atlanta.
And he's got a 4.7-yard average right now, so he's really doing a nice job so far. This team needs to run the ball if they're going to win in this ball game. And honestly, they're not that great on the ground. They've been decent, but they've thrown the ball a lot in their first couple games.
They played some great rush defenses.
And they have played some good rushing defenses. They do get a lighter load here this weekend, so I do like the rushing game for Carolina to kind of set the tone for this game.
Me too.
But we really can't talk about this game without mentioning Michael Turner. This kid's on fire right now.
Absolutely.
He had a great week 1, over 200 yards. Then he came back to earth in week 2, but last week he was good again, and now he faces a Carolina team who I think he can put up another good stat line in. He's leading the league in rushing, 366 on the ground. He's got 5 rushing touchdowns.
3 TDs last week.
And 3 alone last week. So he's really a must start, and he could propel your team to a victory this weekend again.
Yeah, he's exploited some bad defenses. I mean, let's not forget those 2 big games were against KC and against the Lions. So those games may be some of his better games over the course of the season. We'll see. I think he's a must-play here in this game, but on the road at Carolina, I'm not thinking he's going to get 3 TDs.
No, definitely not. I mean, expect more like 100 yards and a touchdown.
Right.
Still a quality start
Absolutely.
for a guy who's finally getting his chance to shine, and he really is doing that with vigor right now. He runs really hard. He's in a run-oriented offense, And as this team develops, I think we're going to see more good things to come from Michael Turner.
Yeah, absolutely. And keep your eye on Matt Ryan. We told you in the preseason that this kid had the goods. He's showing us at this early stage in his career, he's having some early success. They're not making him do too much, but he is doing more than just managing the game. And the squad is 2-1 under his tutelage. So way to go, Matt Ryan. Arizona traveling to face the Jets. Jeff, Brett Favre, loser of 2 straight games after that impressive Week 1 showing. Now they play host to the Arizona Cardinals, who won their first 2 games, but dropped a game last week. Both of these teams really needing a win here.
Yeah, and back-to-back games on the eastern side of the country for the Arizona Cardinals, so they elected to stay on the eastern seaboard throughout the course of this week, and I do kind of feel like that's going to throw them off their regular game. The veteran players haven't had a chance to see their kids or kiss their wives for a full week.
Nice
they
point.
haven't slept in their own beds for a full week. And with the fact that the Jets kind of got run out of the house last week on Monday night, they're going to be a pissed-off defense, and I think that the offense is really going to show up in a major way. And here's the main point that I have. I love Thomas Jones for this weekend, and the reason is because this will be the first chance that he gets to face the team that drafted him way back in 2000, and I think he's going to tear it up.
Big time. Jeff has been a Thomas Jones pimp for a year and a half now here on the show. I've taken a little bit more of a wait-and-see approach on Thomas Jones. He's definitely a good start
At home against the Cardinals.
He's definitely a good start against the Cardinals,
For sure.
absolutely. But the Jet I want to highlight here is a guy you probably haven't heard of. His name is Rodney Stuckey. If we talk
Chauncey.
Chauncey Stuckey.
Yes.
I haven't even heard of him. Glad this is the web-only segment. This guy has more catches than Lavernius Coles or Jericho Cotchery so far, Jeff, and he scored a touchdown in 3 straight weeks. Are we seeing a trend here with Stuckey?
You know, I think that there might be a little bit of a trend where he's starting to take the second job away from Lavernius Coles. Lavernius Coles has been unhappy since they let Pennington go.
Right.
God knows why. Coles just needs to shut his
asinine.
trap, catch the ball, and try to get into the end zone.
Right.
To me, Jericho Cotchery is a must-start in fantasy football now. He's still the #1 option for this team. He's their best athlete in the receiving game, and he's good going deep. So I really like him here in this game. I think that the Jets are going to get off big time. The whole offense is going to show up. I think Brett Favre is going to be lights out. They are in a must-win situation, and because they're 1-2, and after Brady got injured, they had to be feeling like we can do it.
Right.
And now they're flat, so
Right.
they're going to get a win big time. If you go on the Pick'em Challenge, please take the Jets.
There you go. Stuckey, I like him this week as a bye week fill-in for sure. A lot of good wide receivers out there on bye at home against the Cardinals. He definitely has a burgeoning hookup with Brett Favre. I would start him at this stage of the game over Lavernius Coles, thank you, if it came down to that. But on the Arizona side of the ball, the Jets were exploited on Monday night in the passing game. They got lit up early and often. Phillip Rivers throwing 3 first-half touchdown passes. So I love the Cardinals' passing game here.
Yeah, they're going to continue to move the ball through the air, and I do think this is going to be the kind of game that could get out of hand a little bit offensively. I do like the secondary from the Jets. I really like Darrelle Revis and Kerry Rhodes. I think they're good athletes, but when a game's, when the way that the game goes, you get into a scoring battle. So the plays that are getting called are more passes, more deep all the time, and
Right.
eventually those guys are going to get loose. And, you can't doubt the athleticism of the Cardinal wide receivers.
Absolutely.
So those guys remain must-plays. They're 10 and 14 respectively on the overall receivers list, and so you got to keep them in your lineup. Here's one thing that I do think is that Edge is going to have a nice game, and I call him a lock for 100 yards and a touchdown this week.
Nice, bold prediction there. We spent a little bit more time on the Cardinals and Jets because the next matchup is Baltimore at Pittsburgh. There's really not a lot of good fantasy plays in this one, guys. The #1 total D in the NFL is Baltimore, allowing just 161 yards a game. We know they've had a formidable D for years and years. The #2 D in football is the Pittsburgh Steelers. So these two teams square off on Monday night. There will be a rookie running back, Rashard Mendenhall, getting his first start ever. But, Jeff, it's a dicey spot to play anyone in this defensive struggle.
Both teams are a little bit nicked up right now, and on the ground, these teams both allow less than 70 yards on the ground, and the two defenses have combined to allow just 1 rushing touchdown.
Right.
So I don't think you can start either of the rushing games here at all. Both defenses make a good play. Big Ben's got that little bit of a shoulder, so I think there's a chance that the passing game for Pittsburgh is decent. But to me, this game's going to end up like a 10-3, real low-scoring defensive battle. Troy Polamalu hasn't been participating in practice. He'll likely be a game-time decision along with several other players. Casey Hampton won't play in this game. So I just really think that it's going to be a lower scoring, grinded out AFC North type of football game.
Yeah, Willis McGahee owners need to be aware. Right now, Willis McGahee got poked in the eye in last week's game. I guess there's a bunch of swelling around the eye. He's been limited in practice, and his coach has come out and said if his vision is blurry before the game on Monday night, they might pull him back and not play him. So if you've got him, and hopefully you've got Ray Rice as your backup, and if you're forced to play one of those guys, I mean, that's a grisly spot to be in for sure, but you want to be aware of this situation with Willis McGahee and his eye because it's definitely causing him problems right now. The injury grizzle continues for McGahee.
And I'll tell you what, there's a guy who you could play if you're in a pinch, and it's LaRon McClain.
2 TDs last week.
Especially if McGahee doesn't suit for this game. He's possibly the best fantasy fullback that we've seen since Mike Allstott.
Yep.
And I really like this kid. He's got a great attitude. And on a team that has a lot of egos on it, especially Willis McGahee, he's kind of a good breath of fresh air. So he's the kind of guy who mixes well with Ray Rice. And if they do continue to move toward this committee type approach that we might be seeing as a possible trend, McGahee in the next couple of years could be phased out. McClain could be the guy to run the ball between the tackles.
In a battle of two teams that had high expectations into this season, Houston traveling to Jacksonville to face the Jaguars. The Houston Texans have really played poorly up to this point. Matt Schaub supposed to be taking this step forward in his progression. Jeff, he's got a 50.3 quarterback rating, 1 TD versus 5 INTs, and the fans are starting to call for Sage right now. Tell me if the Houston Texans can get on track here against the Jags.
I mean, I think it's going to be tough. You know, the Jaguars play that really strong defense, and they did get their rushing game going last week amidst a lot of questions about the injuries on the offensive line. The unit seemed to gel a lot and got Maurice Jones-Drew some room to work between the tackles there. So I think they're going to continue to try to do that in this game. It's going to be tough for Houston to get a whole lot going. The problem that I see for this offense is similar to what the Bengals have been dealing with. Schaub needs to get the ball to Andre Johnson. He opens up their offense. He's their best player. Once they do that, they're going to find that everything else loosens up for them. So I do think that they're going to focus on getting Andre Johnson the ball a lot more in this matchup.
They need to.
And I'll tell you what, Steve Slayton, he's showing some signs of being a talented player.
Yeah, Slayton popped for over 100 yards in his first start against the Titans in his first start as a pro last week. So he's a guy you can roll out here if you're thin at running back this week. And I think you can play both of the Jaguars running backs in this game. I mean, let's not forget they posted 236 combined rushing yards last week against Indy. So we know when this ground game starts to get on track that this is the mode by which this team wins games. And I told you last week, I think this squad is a wounded animal right now. And when you play that smash mouth defense and you play that hard-nosed running style, that's one thing you can do is just bring your lunch bucket and say, no matter what, this week we're going to smash someone in the mouth. So I like the Jags running game in this game. I think they're going to run all over Houston. I think Houston goes to 0-4 here.
Yeah, it's too bad to see. You know, they've got some things cooking there. Defensively, they're decent, but not good by any stretch.
No Mario Williams so far. He's just been
he had a
invisible.
Great 2 sacks in week 1, and then he just decided, you know,
right,
I'll take off 2 weeks in a row. So let's not forget that they have been displaced. They expect to play in Reliant Stadium real soon. And I think that displacement has caused some backward steps in their team cohesion.
Right. Some upheaval, as we like to call it. So we thank you for tuning into the web-only segment. While you're here on the site, check everything out. Click on any of our pictures along the top. Jeff, Jesse, Zach, Zizzo, or the Doughboy, that's Yeasty. You can enter into our writers' pages, read our blogs, look at our rankings. Don't forget to do the Pick'em Challenge and buy a friggin' t-shirt while you're here. We've got 100 or more of them. We need to sell them. Buy a damn shirt and check us out next time. Testosterone signing off for now.